Hello, and welcome to our DM deep dive at D&D in a Castle. Very excited today. My name is Tara, and I am the co-founder of D&D in a Castle, and I am here to announce a new DM for our spring round of D&D in a Castle coming up this spring 2025 at Lumley Castle, UK. And I'm going to introduce you to our latest announced Dungeon Master, who is returning to the castle for the first time in 2 years, none other than the great Dicecream Sandwich. So please welcome. Woo! Fireworks across the wild.
Yeah,
Yes,
how's it
amazing.
going?
Hello. Do I just call you Dicecream? Is that like what people call you when they talk to you? Okay,
Sometimes, yeah. You can call me
Okay.
Dicecream, you can call me Dice, you can call me Kevin. That's my human real name. It's not as fun or flavorful, but yeah, it either works. You can call me KP. Some people say that, and then full name Kevin Parr. Whatever floats your boat, I'm fine with.
Excellent. Well, welcome to our Dungeon Master deep dive for D&D in a Castle. Super excited to have you today, as we are letting the world know that you are going to be at D&D in a Castle this spring, March 24th to 28th at Lumley Castle, UK.
Heck yeah.
So that's very exciting because you have not been to the castle since 2022, and a lot has happened since 2022. So tell us what you're excited about coming to D&D in a Castle.
Oh boy, on the spot. Well, I'm excited because, like you said, it has been 2 years since I have been to that lovely place. It was such an amazing experience. The first time I went, it was kind of right at the cusp of a lot of big things happening in my own personal life. That was the year I got to go and perform on a Gen Con for the first time with a bunch of lovely creators in the D&D TikTok space. I think it was the first time D&D TikTok was represented at the castle at all, which was also very exciting. And I got to bring a few other creators with me to the castle, which is Quincy's Tavern, Shay's Aiden, and a bunch of other lovely people. And
Jackie Chan.
Yeah, exactly. And
not Jackie Chan, the other Jackie Chan.
Yes, Jackie Elena Chan, Shane Wally was there too. I forget. It's been so long. But yeah, no, it was awesome. And I'm very excited to return to be able to host that very amazing personal experience for a whole new group of adventurers and players. It's so wonderful to share in that experience with everyone that comes to the castle. And it's so exciting to meet who else could be the other guest DMs at the castle and get to hang out with them for a weekend and say hi, and maybe say hi to some people that I met last time. Who knows? I know a lot of players and guests return like every year to the castle as well. So very excited to return. I've looked longingly from afar every year as you see the new announcements and the other DMs that get to experience that for the first time. Some friends that have been many times before. Yeah, excited to run a whole new adventure that I'm slowly plotting as all of this came together pretty quickly recently. So I have concepts, I have ideas. I just need to fill in the details a little bit more. But yeah, very excited.
Very cool. So what did you run last time that you were at the castle? What was your game?
So last time I ran it was an original story. It was a homebrewed story that I believe, how many parts was it? I think we did 2 sessions a day, correct?
Yeah.
That's refresh my memory. So it would have been
full days.
Yeah, so it would have been 3 days, right? 2, 4, 6.
Yeah.
So it was a 6-part campaign. That was a homebrewed story. It was one of the campaigns that I created to. It was a part of it was part of my Beyond the Realms stream that I was doing at the time. It was a section of that story that I had now condensed and tweaked and made for event games to share with players. And it was this huge, larger than life story that first it was just a simple heist where you and a party had to put on disguises and enter this fancy ball to steal some artifacts that you were hired to do. You were supposed to steal some items from this gentleman named Balthazar Kern, who was essentially Gilderoy Lockhart, who was this fake adventurer who had a lot of money and like knew how to do some stuff, but like was celebrating his like 100th novel about his exploits, and was hosting this grand party where celebrities and debutantes and all these people were going to be there. So you got some this gangster basically hired the party to infiltrate the party and to go down to the lower vaults of this amazing dwarven keep that was his house. So you had to go into the ballroom, figure out how to get into the lower levels where the vault was kept. You then had to get through the vault room with all the traps and puzzles and everything to get through the lower levels. To which the party then, went through all the vaults, because that's what you do in heists. You don't go through the vault you're supposed to go to. You go to all the vaults. To which they found some very fun homebrewed items just for giggles and fun. A lot of them were homebrewed Marvel items. So one of them was like Ant-Man's helmet that lets you shrink to like tiny size but keep incredible strength. One of them was Thor's hammer. One of them was an Iron Man suit. One of them on and Cap's shield. Green serum that turned you into the Hulk. Fun stuff. To which they, and I don't know how much you want to explain this because I'll just talk forever. Go into the main vault, which was this onyx cube that was the object in question that the person wanted them to get. They touched the cube. Crazy things happened when they did it, and this massive gelatinous cube formed around it. Not your normal gelatinous cube, but another homebrewed monster that was a ginormous gelatinous cube, in like 3 times the size, 3 times the stats. That was the first kind of mini boss battle, and the cube would slowly move out of the room with the black onyx cube inside of it, and it was clearly trying to escape.
Right.
And then I think in that battle they were victorious, and Quincy, I believe, took the black onyx thing and just smashed it. It was just like, this thing shouldn't be around. Some evil guy wants it, smashed it, and let like some evil thing out of it. That like Ghostbusters went like just went up to the party upstairs, and he went, oh no. And that was session 1. And so from there, the adventure, became that the person that hired them was this evil devil demon from like one of the layers of Avernus. They released this incredible evil spirit that took over the ball upstairs. And we used actually Christian, who's one of the players. I intricately weaved his backstory because he came up with this beautiful, romantic, loving story of like wanting the hand of this person that he loved so much, and then chickened out when he got the first date, and then hadn't talked to her in years. And so I put her in that ball. So when they first got to the ball, it was like looking at people that they might recognize, and I was like, oh yeah, and there's that girl that you like stood up on your first date. So there was like so many levels that wound up happening. And then when the spirit got released, it like mind controlled everyone at the ball, that then turned on the party, and one of them was the girlfriend. And so they had to escape, and like all heck broke loose. And then I think Odin from Asgard beamed them up to Asgard to be like, you released an ancient evil that we've been like safeguarding forever, and like became a realm hopping, like you got to save the entire multiverse. And it was just epic. It was one of those things that just like went from 0 to 100 real quick, and included like that campaign is like my love letter to like what I love to play in D&D in like a short time frame. It's like putting the entire energy and hopes and dreams and drama and comedy and love and loss into that you get from a campaign that was kind of engineered to go through 6 sessions.
So it sounds like I heard you say a few of the things that you love that you've mentioned in your description there. I hear puzzles and traps. I hear, pop culture. I know you're a big pop culture guy, and, epic worlds, and a vast arena for the adventure. What would you say you were able to do in that campaign that, you wouldn't be able to do in other formats, like that you were able to achieve in that format of having, 3 solid days, in a row with all the players there, in that setting, in that kind of focus? What were you able to do in your game that you would not necessarily been able to do in another format?
Well, definitely there's like everyone's just so like geared in Like everyone is very much locked. Like they traveled far and wide to have a very deep, meaningful game of Dungeons and Dragons. So being able to have that 6 session time frame of 4 hours each, you're able to tell a fully detailed and complete story, and you don't feel rushed to finish it, like in a one shot or even in a 3 shot. You have the permission to go as big and wide and epic as you want, and really have the breadth of time to, let every player shine, tell all those backstory intricacies if they want that, to really take the story in all kinds of directions and let stories really breathe and explore all the best parts about Dungeons and Dragons that you love. And it also gives you a lot of time for when things inevitably don't go to plan. If you're the kind of DM like me, that my games, I feel, and I've had this sort of belief since I started getting into Dungeons and Dragons more professionally, is that I feel it is a player first game. My job is to not create a story and just have the players walk through it like a novel, and the walls are solid, you can't go through that door if I didn't plan for it. I feel my job is to make the game of Dungeons and Dragons a player first experience. The players experience is my first and foremost goal, to make sure that they are having the best time possible telling the story that they want to tell, because we all put so much time and effort into creating characters and these backstories. And in this case, taking the time to save all this money, to go on a trip, to go halfway around the world for some people, to stay in this castle. And I want to make sure that that experience is worth their time, their hard-earned money, and all the planning they did for that. So being able to be in this kind of environment where every player is at that same level of like foaming at the mouth, like wanting to have that kind of deeper experience, allows me to really develop a story, knowing that there's players going into this that are going to hang on to every word and go on that ride with me. Um, and it's fantastic. Like there's nothing else like it.
You said, that the player experience and the sort of player centric aspect is what you try to bring out in games. What do you think makes a great game of D&D? What do you think is your definition of the ultimate D&D game? Like, what are the components, or what's the outcome that lets you know this was the ultimate? In your opinion.
Well, there's like so many things you could answer that question with. I mean, Dungeons and Dragons, as at its core, is basically a narrative art form, right? So it's a form of entertainment. It's almost like looking at a painting. Like no two people look at the same painting and get the same thing out of it, or a movie for that matter, or a piece of music. So what judges a successful game of D&D, I think, is different for everybody. Some people might think it's the combat. Some people might think it's the social interaction. Some people might think it's the world building, on and on and on. I think for me personally, what I can be like, ooh, that was good for me, is when people are just having the best, most fun possible, when you're getting people to laugh, when you're getting people to gasp, when you're getting people to go, oh my God, no way. Like those big surprise moments that they didn't see coming, or those insanely ridiculous moments that they're like, what? Like that. Okay, sure. Oh my God. Like putting Marvel weapons in the vault. They didn't see that coming. I had nothing to indicate that would happen, but to see the surprise on their face and the shock and awe and the, oh, wow, this is what we're getting. Oh, sick. Like those exponential joygasm moments that they didn't see coming and that you facilitated for them. That to me is my own personal checklist of what made a game so awesome. And there's some people who are quieter than others. You might run a game and everyone will be like, yeah, that was great. And they're like, maybe they're not the most outwardly energetic people, but inside they're like, oh my God, well, I'm having the best time. So that just for me, and maybe my own weird neurotic ADHD mind, if I was with a bunch of players and they were very quiet, I'd be like, did I do a good job? I don't know. I didn't hear anything. But most of the time, even the most introvert player who maybe isn't the most vocal will most of the time come after the session and be like, that was amazing. You did such a good, like, they'll tell you, if they got something out of it. So yeah, that for me is just seeing the players' reactions to things that I built for them, surprises that I had built, and seeing their face when it happens. Those like nat 20s that have huge high stakes, they go, yeah, or those nat ones that also high stakes, they go, oh no. Like, all of that is just music to my ears.
When you came to D&D the Castle back in 2022, as you said, a lot has happened since then. You were sort of on the verge of blowing up. And so what have you been up to since 2022? Tell us what you've been doing.
Oh man, I am a blabber, so I'll try not to go off on a tangent like Kevin Smith. Yeah, so basically, a little pretext, like anyone who's watching this who might not know of my content or have seen my stuff before, I basically started making D&D content more, like, I was making it in like 2018, 2019. I started it right here in my apartment at a table here playing Curse of Strahd that my friend and producing partner Jordy Rose DM'd. And we were just like, hey, let's just stream a game for fun. We were getting to Critical Role, and no expectations for it. We just want to do it for fun. We played Curse of Strahd, and we had a little campaign group, and it was great. And we had like a little tiny audience of like 15 people to watch us every week. That's all we wanted. We were excited. 2 people watched us, let alone 15. Pandemic hit. I was locked in here, nothing to do. I had been on TikTok for a little bit before then, and then just dove into it full time. Just like, I'll make this my job because I don't have a job right now. And a lot of those videos started to catch on, and started to connect with a lot of other content creators right when they were just starting, and a lot of us met each other for the first time. And so we started to do stream campaigns together because we're like, well, all these audiences want us to watch us play. Let's do it together. And the Balthazar job that first D&D in a Castle adventure was born from, you can watch me play it for the very first time on my YouTube channel. It was like the first one shot, like 3-shot thing I did with like other content creators. So you can see it from like 2020 if you want, the very first invention of it, and see how they did and what happened with them. But that steamrolled into meeting more creators, making more content, views going up, to doing my first stream campaign called Beyond the Realms that I did with a bunch of other amazing content creators, and was doing that weekly. And then that started to catch on a little bit. And that coming out of the pandemic was when I was like, you know what, let's see if we can get to Gen Con. I've never been to Gen Con. I've heard lots about it. I heard through the grapevine that coming out of the pandemic, it was the first time coming back, and they were having trouble getting performers to come because obviously it was very soon. A lot of people didn't feel comfortable, but I was like, I'll just give it a whirl. So I went on my socials and I basically pitched to camera. I was like, hi, Gen Con, I'm Dicecream. I make D&D content. I've done these shows. I do these videos. Maybe I could do a show for you if you like that. And I told my followers, I'm like, comment, you tag Gen Con in the comments so they see this. And me thinking it was a long shot and it would take a long time to even get an answer. Within 5 minutes, they replied in the comment thread and be like, we're going to email you right now. I was like, oh, geez. So they're like, what do you want to do? And me being I'm just going to pitch a bunch of stuff and maybe they'll pick one. I pitched 3 games, one of a live stream of my Beyond the Realms game, and then 2 other one-shots with like 6 creators each. I was like, they'll got to pick one of those. They got back and were like, we'll do all 3. And I went, oh, great. And oh, no, because this is also my first time being in front of an audience since the pandemic. And Gen Con hosts 80,000 people. So I had a mini freak out and I was like, okay, let's figure this out. And then that's when I did my little campaign, content teaser of like, here's all the games I'm doing Gen Con. And Gen Con retweeted that. And that's when you guys found me. And that's when you reached out and you're like, hey, we have never heard of D&D TikTok or of you, but you're on Gen Con. So who the hell are you? And it was like, also I'm from Vancouver and yeah, Cam's from Vancouver. And there was a bit of connection there. And yeah, we were like, do you want to come to Castle? And I was like, heck, yes, I do. Because D&D TikTok was also this, like, for all intents and purposes, brand new D&D community online that had never existed before 2020, like ever. So being at the forefront of that and being kind of an unofficial like spokesperson for some people and their kind of gateway to that community, being like, what is this community? Where, like, I have no idea. That was so, like, I was so grateful for that. And it was so awesome to be able to introduce a bunch of people to that world. A lot of established D&D and TTRPG businesses that just weren't familiar with it because they're more familiar with Instagram or Twitter at the time. So, and I love like connecting people. I love showing people like this amazing community that was growing and other creators, and not just be like, don't just focus on me. Like, look at all these other people that are also doing other stuff. Like, share the wealth. Like, there's so many awesome creators doing awesome stuff. So being able to come to the castle and then also getting to bring, like we said earlier, other creators like Quincy and Aiden and Jackie was so cool and so awesome. Just to be like, I was in my living room filming dinky little TikToks like 6 months ago. Now I'm in a castle in England hosting games for people. And that was also my first time like being invited overseas to host a game and to like do a live event like that, to which I've done many since then. So that was kind of the backstory to getting involved with the castle. And since then, we did the Gen Con event. I've gone on to, the channels just kept growing, videos kept growing. I think we did a statistic review in 2023. And I think between the videos on my channel and doing sponsored content and producing some content for other brands, I think I produced like 45 million views in 2023 alone. Which is an insane number that doesn't make sense to me. And have gone on to do events for San Diego Comic-Con, which was a dream come true last year. And you might want to keep your eyes on social soon for another cool announcement. And have gone on to do fantasy ball events with Eudandria events. We did some D&D for their guests as well. Oh man, what else? Oh, I partnered with Quest Coast Studios last year, which is a YouTube studio here in Vancouver, BC. They have an awesome TTRPG brand called Quest Keep. And I was kind of brought on last year as their like brand ambassador and main content creator, where I got to produce my very own studio actual plays, like top tier quality, like Critical Role level production actual plays, which was also a dream come true. We did a Dragonlance game that was 4 sessions that had Louis Carrazzo, Michelle Bradley, Quincy's Tavern, Tank Tolman, which was his first D&D game and D&D stream. Then the second one after that was a Pathfinder undead themed game called Bloodlords, which was also hilarious and insane. We did a Candela Obscura game after that, and also helped them grow their channels and collaborate on a lot of content with them. So that was also a crazy experience and loved it. To now I'm doing Dicecream full time this year. Just making content, going to events, doing, sponsored content for other brands still, and being that, almost like just a professional nerd, just a professional member of the community that loves celebrating D&D content, loves celebrating the D&D community, loves to let people know about cool products that are out there regarding TTRPGs, whether it's an established brand like Wizards of the Coast, San Diego Comic-Con, or more independent creators who make stuff on Etsy and just have really cool products that they just have a hard time getting it out there. Like, yeah, all around, that's kind of what it is. Is everyone still here? I feel like I'm talking this, so it's okay.
Well, there's lots to know. So for your upcoming appearance at D&D in a Castle, I know that we're still putting the final touches on deciding what that campaign is going to look like. So I don't know if we want to spoiler anything just yet, but certainly you're going to be at D&D in the Castle March 24th to 28th, which it says on the screen right now. And so you'll be running a 24 plus hour campaign over the 4 days of the event, which people can come and game at your table with up to 5 other players, so 6 players at a table with Dicecream as your very own dungeon master for a 4-day retreat in a castle, all inclusive, meals, accommodation, all secluded from the world. So what I want to know, and I want you to share with people who might be watching, is what can they expect from your game?
This year's game, or next year's game.
Next year's game, the game in 2025 in the spring. Yeah. What can they expect from me? I mean, I know without the details of the campaign necessarily, although feel free to share what you want to share.
Yeah, we got broad strokes.
Or what are the things that they can expect from a Dicecream Sandwich game over?
So yeah, I'll start with what I'm thinking to do for the game, and then we'll go into the game style. So last year was a homebrewed game that was insane, epic, crazy realm hopping, world ending stuff. Especially for events like this, when everyone's coming from all over the world. I love making big, high stakes games that includes everything you love in a D&D campaign. The drama, the comedy, homebrewed items, twists, turns, epic, big. That's the kind of games I like to run for these events. If anyone's seen the show Final Space or Adventure Time, it's kind of like that mashed together is very much my narrative style, where like you'll be laughing 1 second and then crying the next, is kind of what I like to participate in. But for 2025, I wanted to give a new love letter. If the last campaign at D&D Castle was a love letter to what I personally love in D&D campaigns, this time around is a love letter to D&D itself. The lore, the years, especially with this being the 50th anniversary this year, that's been on my mind a lot. So I wanted to run a Dragonlance game. Yes, I wanted to provide an experience for D&D fans who love lore, who love the history of D&D. For those of you who have been playing for decades, since the 70s or 80s, and have read all those Dragonlance books and love those novels and just Forgotten Realms in general, I wanted to create something that had that in it. So I wanted to do a Dragonlance story, and very much an homage to the Dragonlance story that we told with Quest Keep, because that was so much fun, and I love that world, and it's so rich and full of just such good stuff to play in. First instinct is to do a condensed version of the Dragonlance campaign that has come out, which is an amazing campaign story. It's so good. It's got so many highs and lows in that pre-written campaign, and I have all of the minis for that adventure. WizKids very lovingly, which I have a great relationship with, sent me all the minis for the Dragonlance campaign, and I've run it before. And I think for the hardcore fans of D&D that want to get into the world of Kryn, that want to be a moon mage, that want to relive the excitement of reading those books, that's the kind of thing I want to give to the players at D&D Castle next year. And also with the epic minis, the dragon riding minis that I have, I got those. The Death Knights, Order of the Black Rose, all of that. It makes for such classic D&D storytelling that involves all those things that I love about playing D&D. So that's, I think, what the flavor is going to be next year. So campaign details, what story we're going to tell necessarily, kind of TBD right now, as I am in the middle of a lot of other projects currently. We just released our announcement for my next stream that's starting this Sunday. Cool. War of the Realms, sequel to Beyond the Realms that we just talked about. So I've been putting a lot of time into that, but yeah, you will start to see on the D&D in the Castle website and in the newsletter when I've got more details that I'll put in there. But for anyone who's already played the Dragonlance campaign, there might be some new stuff in there for you that you won't expect. And for those who have been really wanting to, and this is also a great opportunity that we talked about earlier about D&D in the Castle, the ability to take like entire campaign books that take like a year or two to do, that most people never have the time to do. I love taking that experience and condensing it for this experience, so that you get like the best moments of that campaign, like amalgamated into the 6-session format. So it's like, you'll feel like you played an entire campaign the entire weekend. And I think that's what I want to try to create and give to you, the D&D in the Castle guests. So I'm very excited about it, and to also see how the players are going to make their own backstories, how they're connected to the world of Kryn, and what class they want to make, because the campaign also gives them some class specific stuff. And who knows, because also we haven't even touched on this yet. The new player's handbook, the new DM's guide will also be out by the time we get to the castle. So people are going to be able to use those new mechanics, those new classes with the new features, which I am so excited to run. So yeah, that's the energy we're bringing in 2025, and maybe layer in some fun, well-known NPCs from the Forgotten Realms novel world, like Druz de Warden, Morton Kanan, all that good stuff.
So in your upcoming stream that you mentioned, you're the DM of that one?
Yes, I am the DM of that one. And that has a new cast. It takes, if anyone who watched Beyond the Realms, one of the, and like this is a bit of a side tangent, but one of the most humbling and amazing feelings I've ever had since making content is having people come up to me and being like, hey, just so you know, your Beyond the Realms campaign during the pandemic, like, gave me something to do every Monday. And like when like the world was on fire and I didn't know what was going on, I could come to your stream every Monday, watch a fun story, and you playing with all those awesome people. Game Raider Girl, Ben Does D&D, Between Two Johns, Clerical Error, which I think they've changed their name now, Saf, Two Are the Bard, and everyone who was involved. That just gives me the most warm feeling ever. So to be able to come back to that, to do my own, we're doing a homebrewed story based off Shattered Obelisk. It's got Tank Tolman, Valiant Fox, Mossy Socks.
Tolman's just in the chat right now.
Hey, so in here, Tank Tolman, what up?
Mini campaign.
Anastasia Rowland, Chelsea Bites is our main cast, and we're also going to be having a lot of guest players come through from the community. The first arc has Alec the Bard in it. And we've got some other cool, tasty surprises. And we've pre-recorded like the first couple arcs, but we're still recording, and we're going to be adding, more guest players as the story kind of gets more insane. But it's got homebrewed locations, homebrewed classes, homebrewed locations, items within it as well. So very, very excited.
Cool. And that would be my recommendation if you want to check out Dicecream Sandwich as a DM and see if his is the campaign you'd like to join at D&D in a Castle this coming spring. You can currently go to dndinacastle.com/spring 2025 if you want to find out more about that upcoming event. We also have other upcoming events, including a couple in August coming up in the USA, if traveling halfway around the world seems like more than what you would like to do. But you have your choice now. So yes, it is great to have you coming back to the castle, Dicecream. We're so excited, and I know it's going to be an awesome game that you're gonna offer to our guests, to your players when we get there. So if you come to dndinacastle.com, there is a chat feature on there. You can ask any questions that you like, including if you have questions about Kevin's campaign. We will pass them along for him to be able to answer, and you can find out about everything that's going on at D&D in a Castle there. And we're real live people behind the scenes answering those questions and things too.
Real live people, not bots.
Real live humans, actual humans, amazing. And we'll even call you if you want and talk to you about D&D in a Castle and tell you everything you want to know, and make you feel very much like you want to come to D&D in a Castle, because it is the adventure of a lifetime. Truly so much fun, so much good peoples at D&D.
Yeah, so great events, lovely community building, and there's people that I've seen that have been going for years. Every year they go. Like, it's a returning. It's some people plan their entire year's vacation to go to this thing, and to have, especially if you're somebody who has been in games and like you're playing in a game, but like there's maybe a level of commitment or a level of role play or investment that maybe you're just feeling your fellow players just aren't giving you, which is like, it's fine, but you're like, I just want to play a game where everyone's at my level. This is the event where that happens. Everyone who comes here is just locked in for those 3 to 4 days. And some people go to the castle and are like, I've never played. Like, that was the height of my D&D playing experience, was coming to the castle, because you just have everyone that's just so locked into all participating and giving everyone, DM included and players, the best possible D&D experience you could ever have. So excited to be a part of that process.
I would say even new players, in terms of being at the level.
Yeah.
It's not the level of experience or so-called skill, if there's a skill. Playing D&D is for fun. It's not about skill showing off, but really it's about the level of excitement, the level of commitment and passion and enthusiasm, more so than the level of experience or ability. So definitely, it's just a place where you want to have as much fun as everyone else wants to have, and everyone's just there to have the ultimate fun. So
Yeah, the rules and the skill checks and the mechanics are over there.
Dicecream will take care of that for you.
Anyone
will explain all the rules. He will worry about the rules. You just
everyone, yeah, that's my job. I'll worry about the rules. But every time I bring in new players to D&D, or work like playing with new creators who've never touched the game before, the first thing I tell them is just like the mechanics, the rule, don't worry about it. Like, we'll get there. You'll learn by doing. The only thing you got to focus on is just the storytelling and having fun, and just you've been attracted to this game and this experience because I feel everyone who does has some sense of storytelling within them. They're either a fan of storytelling from media, movies, television, anime, or they themselves are some kind of storyteller or entertainer. Maybe they're doing well in theater class, or they're a class clown, or they just like being the center of attention. There's nothing wrong with that. I certainly do. And they use this game as a vehicle just to express themselves and to be a part of a joint experience. And nobody has to be an experience in the rules of D&D to partake in that experience. If you just come with good vibes and just want to have fun telling a really cool story that you'll remember for all time, that's all you really need to come into the castle with. Is just come with an open heart, open mind, have fun, and it'll be an experience you'll never forget.
Amazing. Awesome. Well, it's great to chat with you today, Kevin. And we look forward to seeing you at the castle. And as I said, anybody has any questions, send them our way. Come and find us. We're here. We're friendly. We love to chat about D&D in the castle.
Heck yeah.
We're going to send you off with a little closing video, and we'll see you all at the castle.
Yeah, see you next year, everybody. I'm back.